It is the Riot Podcast. Happy Monday, April 4th. Happy post fundraiser to everybody.
I'm not going to let that go. Happy.
I know, I heard that too.
It's been a long day. Come on.
Yeah, welcome to your back to normal Riot, Worst of Riot podcast for today. Thank you to everybody who gave last week. We were doing our spring fundraiser, and it was just super nice to always see so many podcast listeners support. Mm-hmm. We ended with basically 95% fully funded. So if you missed out and you still want to help our podcast, we would appreciate help towards that final 5%. Of
course, yes.
So if you go to RadioU.com, you can donate there, but you got a nice long podcast today.
Yeah, I think it's actually extra long. How do we feel? Do you think the show went okay today? I know we had a few goofs along the way, but I got a very small amount of sleep last night in addition to obviously being the first show after the fundraiser. It's hard to get back into the regular swing of things.
Oh, you were fine.
The show was fine.
Just because you call it a spring fundraiser a couple of times. It's no big deal.
And can't say Mrs. Potato Head properly and say Happry.
You're fine.
I'm all right.
I think it was nice too having Isaiah back because during the fundraiser you were on later in the day.
Yeah, I know. It was nice to wake up early again and get back in here in the morning. So I was excited to come in today.
Well, what did we talk about? Why don't you share?
Not only was this considered a mistake, but I would say this was almost the worst part of the show.
The low point?
It was almost the low point of the show. It's actually happened even before the show started. As when I walked into the RadioU studios, I was like, what the heck is that smell? Is it on fire in here? We talked a lot about smells, and the main one we kicked out the show with was Hudson just smells like gasoline.
Did you smell the gasoline?
Smell it?
No, I didn't smell it. I wish I did, though. I wish I did. I did not smell the gasoline.
I figured you were lying there because if not, I would have smelled it too. Gasoline is such a strong smell.
Yeah, I still, you know what? I was smelling it at the beginning of the show, and at least 2 hours in, I know I still smelled it, but now it's kind of faded away.
Well,
so
I'm
finally used to it.
Getting used to your smell.
Yeah, which we did talk about that in the show as well.
Yeah, I am worried though. So if you want to leave the room soon, there's something else gasoline-wise.
I think when I get home, I am going to have to wash everything.
Take a shower, maybe? I mean, that's never a bad idea.
I took a shower. That's what's thrown me off. I've washed my hands vigorously. I thought it could be on my hands. I took a shower. It's not in my hair or anything. So I don't know what it is. It's either something with my pants or my money or something that needs to be washed. So I'm just going to wash everything.
Well, listen as we talk it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also talk about how Hudson wants to make a performance happen. Actually, he just wants to be famous is what it really is. But he wants to be on WrestleMania. And it got me thinking, like, if you were to be on WrestleMania. You brought up the one guy's name. What was his name?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah.
And so that was like, what would your name be?
Oh,
you need
my wrestling name be?
Well, you used to go by the Hudfather.
The Hudfather.
The Hudfather. That's a pretty good one.
Right, because Hudson, Hudfather. It makes perfect sense. So actually, that's pretty. What would be my finishing move?
I feel like it's got to be something like a propeller or spinning someone around.
Oh, see, because I'm thinking like Godfather theme. So I was thinking like a horse head or something. The horse head.
The horse head.
Okay, it took a real bad turn right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess we'll just have to see. But if you guys have any ideas, feel free to text 877-2-RADIO-U for the finishing move for Hudson's wrestling career.
And I also like when I'm listening to the show because I'm obviously not in here the whole time. I like because I'm recording other things, and so I'm like in and out of breaks, like being able to hear what you guys are talking about. But one of the things that I heard was you guys were talking about like the high schoolers, like the snacks, right? Yeah. And then the only thing that I really took away from that segment at the end, it sounded as if Hudson wanted to, like, I don't know, give candy to little kids or something. That's what I took away from that.
I said bags of chips, which makes it fine.
It was middle school and high schoolers, but sounds worse because Hudson's like, yeah, I could just be at the school handing
stuff over the fence. What I was saying was, so they limit.
We heard what you were saying.
We got it.
They are limiting how big bags of chips basically the kids can bring in to school. And I don't think that's right. Drinks too, but I don't care. If you need to bring more than 20 ounces of soda, like for your health, you shouldn't be doing that. But
bags of chips,
as much as you want. Come on, all bets are off. Some of them could be healthy. We don't know. We don't know what kind of chips the kids are bringing.
If you're at this school, this middle school or high school, look for the HUD father.
Yeah.
Over the fence.
Over the fence.
Come here, kids. I got some chips for you.
You know what? It's just not a good look either way.
No, it's not a good look.
I just already have the beard and the long hair. I know. Sometimes I look a little unkempt.
You can drive the RadioU van if you want.
It's worse. It's worse. Well, thank you guys for enjoying and listening to the podcast today.
Yes.
And thank you again for all of the spring fundraiser help. And we're just glad to be almost fully funded and back to our normal Worst of Riots.
We really appreciate you putting up with us. All right. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
If you've ever asked yourself, just how bad can it get? We've got your answer right here. Worst of the Riot, Radio U.
Now, Nikki, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you smell anything in here?
I just had breakfast, so I
Okay.
can't smell past that.
Okay.
But was there another smell?
Yeah, I was concerned about, but
Is
if
it
you
trash?
haven't, no, I think the trash is empty.
I didn't smell anything else.
No, I'm concerned that it might be me.
Uh-oh.
You don't smell a gasoline smell.
No, I don't.
Okay, I've been smelling who knows what this could mean, but I've been smelling a gasoline smell for days.
Is that your new cologne, or
Yeah.
did you fill up on
You
the
know
way
what?
here?
Actually, I don't mind the smell. At least I didn't initially.
But now it's too much?
You know, when I was a kid and you'd go to gas stations and it would smell good and they'd be like, yeah, but it's killing your brain cells. It explains why I'm so stupid now. But I don't know why I've been smelling a gasoline smell for a couple.
You?
Yeah, I think it's on me.
Weird.
I think it's possible. So I used some cash, or I got cash back when I did some shopping over the weekend.
Yeah, maybe it smells.
I think it might be. I might have gotten gassy cash. So I don't know. It's been following me around.
Well, why don't we maybe check it with Isaiah later?
Yeah.
Just have him walk in the room.
Yeah.
Like, oh, do you smell? What do you think you smell?
Right. That's a good idea to get
If
another
not,
opinion on it.
It probably is on your shoes. That would
It
be
could be on my shoes.
That'd be my other guess.
Yeah, but I think I've been smelling it more frequently than that. So I think it could be in my pocket. I don't know. I guess I could get out the cash and smell that individually. But
just weird
that
to
might
think
not
you-
be the origination of the smell now. I
Sure.
could have gotten gas on the cash.
It just
I don't
seems
know.
weird that it would be such a prominent smell to you if it
Yeah.
was just cash, like in a wallet.
Yeah, especially because you think you would get used to it. So that's the other.
Not if your brain
concern.
cells are dying.
Right. Well, that's the other concern. Maybe I'm having a stroke or something. You know, like maybe it's some medical thing that I have an issue and there's no gas at all.
And you're
I'm
just smelling
imagine-
it?
Yeah.
I think that you went from 0 to 100 real fast right
Yeah.
there. And it's probably just on your shoes or something.
think?
Yeah,
All right.
I think you're
Well-
okay, but I don't smell it on you.
I don't know the course of action. If it's, if nobody else can smell it.
Well,
what
you
do
just
I-
wash everything, including
Yeah.
the money.
I guess the money can go through the wash, can
They
it?
can. Put your shoes in, put everything in.
Yeah, I'll just do
And
one.
then-
It feels like I killed somebody, like I'm washing off.
wash it off. Then your washer will smell like gasoline. And every time you wash
and
something
the whole house, and yes, and every new set of clothes. Every time I wash it, I can't come back from this.
new, you might need to just dump everything.
I think I'm gonna have to work from home.
Oh no! Again, 0 to 100 real fast. I don't know about your thinking.
To do something.
Would Hudson and Nikki's celebrity couple nickname be Hucky or Nidson? It's a good thing they aren't together. The Riot, Radio U.
It wouldn't be a Monday if we didn't look at the box office results, right?
Oh yeah, how did Morbius do?
Morbius did. They're calling it, the quote here is decent. $39 million at the United States box office.
I
So
think that
easily
word
number
is,
one.
That word is spot on. It
Yeah.
did decent. I saw a ton of people talk about it over the weekend.
Yeah?
Not
Were they saying
one
nice things?
person said a nice thing, but they weren't the meanest. Like they just said they expected it to not be very good, and it was just not very good.
Yeah,
wasn't
so-
the worst, but not very good.
It wound up getting, now it sits about 17% positive on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's not great. It's
pretty low.
And it sunk too, and when the first reviews were coming out in the middle of last week, when the embargo lifted, it was at like the low 40s, and my screen is moving without me touching it. What is going on here?
What are you doing over there?
know.
Is it Morbius?
Yeah, right. It was going up and down, like he's saying. Yes,
it
was
is a good
better.
movie.
It was better than it was actually panned out to be because But what I was saying was, I feel like the reviews at first, they're in the 40s.
And
so
then
it was like, it's kind of bad.
fast.
And it went down. I think it like a snowball going down a hill. It kind of started to get worse and worse as people just started to pile on.
Sure.
Where the critics and whatnot saw, well, most people don't like it and they want to make fun of it, so I'm going to give it a negative review too. Not that it deserves a positive one. Just felt like it kind of quickly spiraled from being kind of really bad to terrible.
Well, I feel like the 40s for its sort of review number was lofty or higher than maybe, and it just kind of evened out.
But
over
17
the
feels low, so maybe if it should get somewhere in the middle. But nevertheless, it still made $39 million, and that's in the U.S. alone. And then if you look overseas, it made almost $45 million.
That's pretty
good. So you
good.
add that up, that's about $84 million, and its budget was only $75 million.
Well,
so look
looky
at that. It's
there.
one weekend, it's already made money.
They made some, even though I'm always curious if it was a true $75 million or if they're like, yeah, $75 million plus all the advertising budget.
Yeah, because they don't. I think they don't include that. But
I don't think
still,
they put it in.
When you like, it's going to make more money in a few coming weeks. They don't know if it'll ever release in China, but if it ever does, it's going to make some kind of money. It's going to make a few million more bucks in the next few weeks. So. Is it good enough to get a second Morbius after all the bad reviews?
I don't know. Sony might.
Yeah, maybe, but it's good enough to continue keeping him around in the Spider-Man universe somewhere. That's probably what it's going to do.
Also, I'm very curious to see when it actually made a little bit of money, but how big is the drop? That sometimes is what they'll wait for, to see between week 1 and week 2, how low does it go?
Yeah.
So if you saw Morbius over the weekend, let us know. Was it like 40% bad, 19% bad, 14% bad? So bad we can't talk about it. Like how bad was it on the riot scale?
Yeah, and if you're curious about how what else was up in the box office, The Lost City, which came out last weekend. That's the Sandra Bullock, Daniel Radcliffe movie.
Oh, yeah.
Channing Tatum, I think.
How was that?
That got another $14 million, so that one's got up to 54 total in the U.S. Not bad. And then, of course, the Batman's still hanging in there, number 3. So.
Still feel like we're missing some good movies, but that's all right.
Well, Sonic comes out this weekend, Sonic 2.
Hey, I still feel like we're missing some good movies.
Well, the new Harry Potter movie that doesn't have Harry Potter in it comes out 2 weeks from now.
Nope, still feel like we're missing something. But I guess we'll just have to see how that unfolds.
Well, they'll get you one
If
day.
you're looking for diet motivation, you won't find it here. The Riot, Radio U.
So, Nikki, you did not go see Morbius over the weekend.
I did not.
Did you do anything at all?
Coming off the fundraiser, thank you, by the way, to everybody who supported last week on our spring fundraiser. We're still so close to hitting 100% fully funded, and I was so close to not doing anything. So I felt like nothing. We're all pretty tired after the fundraiser, so I didn't do too much.
I was thinking the same thing, but then my wife was like, let's rearrange our bedroom.
Oh!
Which was I'm glad to do it. Glad to do it. It was odd timing.
Sure.
For sure. But this is the time of year for spring cleaning.
I love cleaning out stuff.
Man, we threw so much stuff away.
Yeah.
We've done the Goodwill.
Use the dumpster here.
Yes, I did. If you see some really weird things in there.
It's from Hudson's place.
It's from my house, yeah. And my wife runs an eBay business, so that explains it. You're like, why is there a full-size, human-sized Barbie doll in there?
Like, what's that?
It was not going to sell.
Okay.
We figured that out. So we took some stuff to the Goodwill.
Yeah.
Not as much this time. A lot of this just wound up in the garbage. But it just so happens that Goodwill is saying, hey, remember us, because spring cleaning, if you're doing that this anytime around this time, remember to donate stuff to Goodwill. So they actually put out kind of a little idea of what you actually want to donate to Goodwill and what you don't want to donate.
Because there are some things that they will not accept.
Which surprisingly sounds like not much, according to this spokesperson who really said, you got to check with your individual Goodwill wherever you're going if you're on the fence about something. But generally, they don't accept toxic waste, and that's about it.
No, I mean, they don't accept, because I had like some old stuffed animals. I don't think they accept things like that.
Well, you just got a bad Goodwill. You got a bad will.
They'll do. They should take them.
You got it was a very discerning volunteer or whatever. They're not volunteers. They get paid. So you got somebody who is just a little too a little too discerning.
Because they go through all the stuff on their own, and then I think they throw away a lot, or they sell it in their place.
See, this is what's interesting to me is as I'm going through this, they say you should donate, like don't, even if you're on the fence, like if it's a clothing item and it's got a stain on it or something, they say still feel free to donate it because if they so choose to not try to sell it, they say only about 50 or 60% of the stuff actually hits the sales floor.
Yeah.
But for clothes, for shoes, they actually have places where they give them and then they repurpose it. Oh. Like for shoes, if your shoes aren't good enough to resell, they say they will give those to a company that like uses the rubber from the shoes and makes like playground padding or whatever.
I don't know. Goodwill's been controversial before.
What do you mean?
Well, because, you know, with the money and what they make and stuff. So it's also good to find truly like places that'll give things out to people.
Yeah.
So if you find any other organizations, I mean, the Goodwill's still at least there.
Yeah,
better than
right.
Throwing it out. But there's other places that can help.
Yeah, some people aren't as big fans of Goodwill. That's for sure. But they say in this case, maybe this is just it really depends on which
your location?
Goodwill you're going to. But they say pretty much give them anything because, again, only 50% of the stuff actually gets sold or goes to the sales floor, but they'll at least do something with a lot of the stuff where they can repurpose it somewhere. But then, I don't know if you know this, after stuff doesn't sell, they send it to
They
like
burn it.
I don't know, maybe one day. They send it to like a clearance thing where you buy it by the pound.
Oh, like the box things or like the pallets of stuff.
Yeah, they just put it. I've been to one before. Again,
Sure.
my wife has an eBay business, so you run. They run out these giant bins and just dump the bins out in bigger bins that are out for everybody to just dig through, and it's just finders keepers, and you pay by the pound.
That's going to be the worst then if you get denied anything, because that means it's really bad.
Yeah, it's not even good enough to dump in a giant bin for people to go through.
If they say no to one of your things, then it's like, it might as well be toxic dump stuff.
Yeah,
Because they're saying no to it.
If the Goodwill is calling it garbage,
Then you
it's
know
really,
it was
really
time
garbage.
to go ahead, and they say with all the cleaning shows, like sometimes some things just need thrown away.
Yeah, right. So I guess what we're telling you is maybe just throw everything away.
That's an idea.
Why are Hudson, Nikki, and Isaiah always eating on the show? The more we feed them, the less they talk. The Riot.
Radio U.
Can you guys believe it's been only 1 week since the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing?
It feels like it's been forever. I can't wait for it to go away, but it'll never go away.
No, it is going to be around for a while. But we never got your thoughts on it, Isaiah, and you're a resident Will Smith fan here.
I am.
So are you? I don't know if we picked sides, Nikki. Were we on? I mean, I know I'm definitely side Chris Rock.
Well, I mean, we were busy with the fundraiser, so like I think we got away with having to pick a side. But I think now it's the question of, do you feel like because he's left the academy, so he's resigned from that,
right?
So do you feel like, does that do anything to him? Is that enough for him to do,
right?
Or is
what does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
That's what I think too. I'm like, what is the academy? Like, what does that even mean?
That's what
really.
I'm trying. I don't even understand if that means that regardless of what they do, if he is just not going to like be included in voting on the stuff,
it's
and not
mostly
included
voting.
in.
So you pay to be a part of the academy, and you receive like screeners and stuff, so that you vote on the academy stuff. You no longer get a vote, and you no longer get those screeners. Outside of that, you can still do movies.
Right, they can't stop you from making movies.
You can still be invited to the Oscars. Like, you can still be invited to things. It just means that you are not a voting member of it.
So maybe he just felt like that was a chore anyways. Maybe this is the load off of his shoulders. He's like,
wanted to
I don't have to
leave?
watch all these movies anymore.
Well, there was a lot of people who left after this year's because they had moved down the categories to a smaller amount. So there was other high-profile people who also left. He was just, I think, encouraged to leave.
Right. So what, Isaiah, what was your thoughts on the Were you Team Will Smith?
Is he forgivable?
Can you find a way to defend him?
I can't find a way to defend him, of course. I think the only way you would try to defend him is if you think that Chris Rock really offended Jada and Will. But other than that, I don't really think it's ever appropriate to hit someone no matter what they say. So I can't really defend them.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
That's good to hear. Safe
That's
for
good.
us.
Yes, I'm safe then, I guess.
Yeah, you're good for now.
I just think it was so hard because Will Smith always built this persona where he was such the nice guy,
yeah,
and the good guy, and so now all of his projects are kind of being reconsidered. So there was a biopic about him, just a ton of movies.
Well, that has a great ending, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just not everybody wants to bid on them now.
Yeah,
so I think he needs to take some time.
So he has it the fallout so far is he's resigned from the Academy, as we just mentioned. He's also, for sure, Netflix and Sony have paused all projects with him. I don't know exactly what they had in the works anyways between the two of them.
Some big stuff on the way from Will Smith.
Some big
stuff.
Some huge box office flops that were really coming from him. And it still says that the Academy, they're still meeting, their board of governors or whatever is meeting later this month, where they will decide if there's any further punishment that they want to give to Will Smith. He doesn't just get off the hook because he's resigning from the Academy. They might ban him or take his... I don't think they're going to take his Oscar away.
They say there's such a small chance because of people that still have Oscars that are horrible people.
Yeah.
There are a ton of them. And if they didn't take their Oscars away, there's no way they should take Will Smith's away.
They weren't horrible people on TV.
Oh, no, they're worse. Way, way worse. So they really doubt that he would lose it.
Yeah.
But he's just... everybody's just
in other words,
and wondering.
They're still meeting later this month, which means this is still going to continue on for at least another couple of weeks.
Oh, no.
What'll be the worst is when you hit 1 year and the next awards next year. And they're
that's what I'm interested in.
Flashback to last year's awards.
That's what I want to know is if they bring him back, because traditionally, right, he would be able to present I think it would be Best Actress because he's the best actor. The winner usually presents for the next year's awards.
Don't know.
Will they bring him back? I guess that's all up in the air. So we're going to get a whole year out of this, at least.
Thanks, Will Smith.
Yeah, right. Finally, we're talking about him.
After
I just
so
can't
many
wait
bad
to
movies.
never
hear about it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. No notes. The Riot on RadioU.
We now have news about Jim Carrey and Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
I was wondering why he was being interviewed so much. Because in my mind, Sonic 2 got pushed back forever. But it's not. It's out this weekend.
It's coming. Yeah.
So that's why he was being interviewed in the first place.
And it feels like it's been pushed back.
It was.
But the first one came out right before the pandemic, right? That was Valentine's Day of 2020.
Are you sure it wasn't the year before?
I'm pretty sure. I really think it was.
Sonic
Maybe I'm
the
wrong.
Hedgehog. I'll give it a Google search.
But so that's 2 years apart is a pretty quick turnaround to me. It feels like.
I guess maybe. Well, it just wants to tell me about 2. I don't want the second one.
Wait a minute.
I learn about
Sonic
the first
the Hedgehog
one.
2, a surprise follow-up to 2020's surprise box office hit.
2020?
Yeah.
All right, you were right.
So 2 years ago, and now they've already brought back. Anyway, so Sonic the Hedgehog 2 comes out this coming weekend, and Jim Carrey has said in a recent interview with Access Hollywood that it may be his last movie.
Oh, really?
He says, the quote is, "I'm retiring." Probably. He says, unless he says, "I'm being fairly serious. It depends. If the angels bring me some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see, I might continue down the road, but I'm taking a break." So unless Sonic the Hedgehog 3 comes along,
I was like, wait,
he's taking a break.
I don't feel like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 matches up to the gold writing and it's a superscript.
What a swan song. What a epitaph for Jim Carrey's acting career. He's going out on the Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
That'll be it.
After a storied and illustrious career,
well, does anybody
he wraps it up
remember
with Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Outside of the other Sonic, that kind of brought life back to a commercial success career. But outside of that, what else has he done recently that's kind of been notable?
Paint?
Well, yeah, he is a painter, but movie-wise.
I don't. Not a lot of movies he hasn't done.
Even though if not, Paint sounds like an independent movie.
It does. Maybe you know what?
It's a documentary.
I mentioned that, but I actually think he did. There was a short documentary on his painting. I don't know. He's had an interesting life that he's where over the past few years, if you recall, I believe it was his longtime girlfriend or something committed suicide several years ago, and that totally changed the way he was.
Oh, really?
Which is understandable. And so now he's just a lot more just kind of out there where you listen to interviews with him and stuff, and it really borders on the, like, are you really wise? Are you just on a different level of wisdom than the rest of us? Or are you crazy? It's hard to tell sometimes. Or are you
What
both?
are you on? Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was just odd that he came back for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And then Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and that's just what he's doing, and now nothing.
Here's what I feel like for everybody, for some of these actors, is I feel like, fine, go ahead, stop making movies. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't need to be a thing. But for him, I just felt like he always had a lot to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than you even wanted to hear.
Sure, that's for sure. Well,
but that's just his type of personality.
If you are hoping for definitely if you're hoping for Jim Carrey like sequels to any of his classic movies.
No.
It sounds like that's a no.
I just want them to keep their promise. If they're going to say they're going to retire, go ahead and retire.
Yeah, because we've heard from several that it sounds like they're not going to come. They're taking what do they call it? Sabbatical, or
a stand.
Right. They just have their different words, and then it's like 3 weeks.
Well, remember to tell us how Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is.
Yeah, that's right. Eventually, I'll watch the first one.
I'm sure you will.
It's on my list to eventually check out.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
Now, up until this point, I have not been quite interested in the lab-grown meats.
Yeah.
Beyond Meat, Impossible Meat. It's not appealed to me. I've had some. It's fine, but it's nothing that interests me. That's all changing today.
What
when
are they
I saw
offering?
This. There's a company, you probably haven't heard of them because they're not one of the bigger names, but they're called Primeval Foods. They are going to be putting out lab-grown meat that is supposedly meant to match lion, tiger,
the taste
giraffe,
of it? Oh.
elephant.
Oh, no.
What do you mean? It's not even real meat.
Oh, I know that, but like the taste has to be based off of something.
That's what I was going to say. I'm really intrigued by this because obviously, for multiple reasons, it's not really easy or smiled upon to eat tiger or lion or whatever, although that would be quite a role reversal, wouldn't it, for you to be eating them?
They were saying that, a lot of times we eat certain things because they're more easily domesticated.
That's right.
But sometimes there might be other animals that are possibly healthier.
Right.
Tastier. I don't know about that.
See, that's right.
Easy to domesticate and sell the meat for.
Right. For obvious reasons, it would not be easy to have a tiger farm where you.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine if you were like, "Hey, are you working at the elephant factory?"
Yeah. Or can you imagine if Joe Exotic was doing that? Oh no!
I know. Like in some cases, for some animals, it is, but that seems like I don't know. I guess I was not going to be excited, but you're the market there that they're trying to reach.
Yeah, because I have tried, and I'm
meats?
interested in trying different meat from different things just to see, like, does chicken really taste the best? And in my experience so far, yeah, chicken and beef actually do taste better than most of the weird meats you might try, but I've never had tiger or lion, so I don't know. So they say, yeah, it could be potentially healthier, and it's not hurting anybody. So they say this actually could be a really big deal. Now, of course, that's what they say.
Sure.
I don't know if you ask other food experts, is there a different reason that we don't eat tiger and lion besides just that you can't domesticate them and farm them?
They say a lot of times that's really the main reason, but that there's some health benefits to other meats, but we just don't do that.
But I imagine with some other meats, when they like something. Some part of what makes some meat good is that it's fatty, and some of what makes other meats healthier is that they're lean. They're not fatty, so maybe these wouldn't taste as good just because they're not as fatty. But I don't know. In my experience with like kangaroo, I did not like kangaroo as much as beef or whatever you might substitute it for. But so you know what I mean? Where it also has a different taste to it. I think there's a reason. part of the reason we like chicken and beef so much and pork is because it actually does taste good.
Mm-hmm.
And some other meats that we're not as used to don't taste good.
Well, I'm not sure about giraffe.
Right. Who knows? That's up in the air, right?
I mean, yes, you're not like eating. It's a lab-grown one.
Right, so you don't have to feel bad about it.
I know, but you still feel bad because then what if you get hooked on it and the lab one goes away? Before you know it, you're like, I have to eat giraffe
And
again.
you're sneaking into the zoo,
You're
jumping
sneaking
into
in?
the enclosure, and it's not because you want to pet the tiger or get a selfie with it. It's because you want to eat it.
That's right.
That's the zoo's really going to come down hard on you for that.
You can't. You're not going to be asked to come back.
Yeah, they're just going to let the tiger at you at that point. They're just like, you know what? If you want to eat the tiger, we'll see who wins.
Lower your expectations enough, and you'll never be disappointed. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Did you guys see anything about DK Metcalf going around Twitter over the weekend?
Well, I see something now.
Yeah, it was
but...
popping up for me. DK Metcalf, if you don't know, he is a wide receiver currently for the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see how long that lasts. But he is known for just being a mountain of a man. He is, if you look up pictures of him, there's a famous one from before he got drafted. He's standing beside the other NFL wide receivers, as in other guys that are in pretty darn
position?
good shape. Yeah. And he's pretty tall, but he's also just his muscle on his body. How would you describe it, Isaiah?
I mean, it's just incredible. The physique of a man that there's a human person that can look like that.
Yeah.
It's just incredible to me.
He is an Adonis.
Well, it looks like they say he's 6'4", and in this picture they say he's 235 pounds.
Yeah.
He looks way bigger than that.
But it's all muscle,
He
right?
looks huge, but it is all muscle. Like,
He's
must have like zero fat.
chiseled, defined. Well, this is why he was making the rounds on Twitter over the weekend. He was
Did he
doing
gain all the weight? Oh, no.
I wish.
You're secretly glad, but
Yes.
sad at the same time.
He was doing an interview with Kevin Garnett, former NBA player. I guess he has a podcast or something. So I don't know. He was doing an interview, and he was asked about the importance of nutrition. And he said, well, actually, I'm not the person you should ask, because his diet, he says he eats one meal a day, drinks one coffee, and eats like 3 to 4 bags of candy.
That's his diet?
That's what he says. Do you
What's
believe him, first of all?
What's his one meal a day look like, though?
Is it a massive meal?
It has to
Must
be a
be.
massive
Just
meal.
like so much eggs?
Like, that's not unheard of.
What is,
that's the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And you eat one meal a day, and that's
but does
not
it
a
count
bad
as
thing.
fasting if you eat 3 to 4 bags of candy?
Well, that's my other question. Are the 3 to 4 bags of candy outside of the one meal window?
Yes, they are.
So then he's not
the way he
intermittent
described
fasting.
it sounds
No.
He just eats like a.
I don't even know.
kid.
How do
Yeah.
you describe that? He said at noon. He said he works out in the
Yeah.
morning, then he works out again in the morning. So back-to-back workouts. And then he said at around noon or so he'll get a coffee, and then he said that'll hold him over until like 4 or 5 o'clock. And he said then I'll order some gummies. He said I'll get some gummy candy, and he was like, "What kind of candy? Like when you say bags
Are
of
they
candy?"
protein candy?
There's a
he
lot
said,
of different candies.
He said I'm eating the Skittles gummies, the Lifesaver Creations or something. He said I'll get like 3 or 4 bags. I'll mix them all together, and I'll just start eating them. He's like that'll hold me to my dinner, which is at 8 o'clock.
And what's his dinner?
Why does
He didn't
eat
go
that
into
late?
detail on the dinner. It must be incredible. I
I
don't
need
know what
that
he's eating at
detail.
dinner,
Well,
but it's something good.
What does Gaston eat in the Beauty and the Beast? He's like 5 dozen eggs in the morning to help me get.
Sure.
Is that what he's eating?
Has
Like
to
5
be.
dozen eggs as his meal, and then other than that, he just eats all these gummies. But gummies are very low fat, right?
Well, yeah, but
the
not,
sugar though.
not like Skittle gummies.
Yeah, but sugar doesn't make you fat. It just is bad for you, right? Like it
mean,
messes
it's-
your teeth. Like his teeth are going to be a wreck in about a couple of years.
I'm
probably.
just surprised because a lot of times if you do the one meal a day, it's more like in the middle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're
that's what I was shocked
You're
by.
not
Right.
going the whole day, and he's not doing any of the benefits if he's eating. Like you can have coffee, but if you're having bags of candy,
Right.
then that is not helping with the health benefits. Wow, and he looks like
But
that.
I don't know. You can't argue with the results,
I
right?
know.
I
Maybe
think
we
it's
should
the,
try it.
I think
We
it's the
should-
double workout.
We should
Yeah.
go a week on the DK Metcalf diet and see how it pans out.
I don't think I could even do it. I would never be able to make it till that point of time, like eating at 8 p.m. at night. I would be so hungry, like
Sure.
so hungry.
No, because you eat the Skittles gummies.
and the
But that
candy.
doesn't hold you over though.
You got to eat a lot. You got to eat
I mean, he
bags
must
of
be-
them.
yeah, 4
if
bags
you
of
eat bags of them, they'll hold you over.
So this guy, DK Metcalf, I think we need to find a longer interview concerning his diet.
I think a lot of people are going to start asking more questions now.
We can't just go by this.
Yeah, right.
But that's something, man.
I mean, he went into
fit.
enough detail. At first, I was like, maybe he's exaggerating, he's joking. April Fool's just happened, but it sounds pretty serious.
He looks so serious in the interview. He looks so serious.
And he's got a lot of detail, too. And I don't know if this was like an interview that just took place or maybe it was filmed a while ago and just came out. I don't know. So, I've got a lot of questions, but I guess I believe him for the moment.
But if you look at The Rock, who he highlights a lot of things he eats, and he eats some crazy stuff, but he works out, so he needs to.
Right.
So for this guy, he must work out so much that he can just burn through those calories or that sugar, it fuels him.
He might still be young enough. Maybe his metabolism just hasn't caught up to him yet.
What's in your coffee, man?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is it that bulletproof coffee?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Are you putting the grass-fed butter in that? Because there's something you're doing.
Whatever it is, it's working.
Well, okay, just someone pin that and we'll look at that later because that might be the new diet.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
Big sports weekend, actually.
Yep.
Did anybody watch WrestleMania?
No.
No? Isaiah, you're wrestling?
Hard no there.
Hard no?
No.
Is that a hard pass?
That's a hard pass for me.
I didn't watch it either, because that's like pay-per-view, right?
I guess.
I don't know.
Not
I
sure.
never watch wrestling pay-per-view or otherwise, but if it's pay-per-view, then definitely not. But I did see like stories about it and whatever. How do you get to be a part of WrestleMania?
Well, I think you have to start in other wrestling leagues and work your way up.
Yeah.
Is that what Johnny Knoxville did?
How about Logan Paul?
Is that what Pat McAfee did? The
As long
punter?
as you're famous. That's why nobody talks about WrestleMania. It's because they have all these side shows that they have to get on for anybody to even acknage it's a thing.
I see.
I
well,
don't
for
know. I
everybody
think a lot of
else,
people weren't talking about it.
You work your way up into the WrestleMania world.
So so for those other people though, can I just start a beef? Like, is that how it works? Do I have to start a beef that's public enough that WrestleMania is like, sure, we'll have you on?
You have to
Maybe.
be real famous.
Who can we start a beef with so I can be a part of WrestleMania?
Because you have to realize they're like every other entertainment thing. They have to have a thing.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
have some sort of controversy.
To get the outsider in, because obviously anybody who cares about Roman Reigns is going to watch anyways. But because he's a wrestler. But I mean,
Thank you for telling us that. It sounded like he was to me.
Yeah, that's a
The
wrestling
double
name.
R
Right?
gave it away.
How
That's what
could
it was.
It
how
did.
could you have a name like Roman Reigns and not be a wrestler?
Why- is
That'd
that
be weird
his-
to just have in
Not
life.
his real name.
I don't think that's his real
No,
name.
I don't either. But if you're just walking around and being like, my name's Roman Reigns, if you're just a regular person, you're an accountant or something.
Now, it sounds like you're interested, though, in wrestling.
Are you
even
a
though
I
you're
want to be.
saying
I
you're
just see
not.
these other names that are not wrestlers that get to be on WrestleMania, and that's what I want to do.
Well, you have to be
I don't
either-
want to watch it. I just want to be on it.
You need to be a wrestler and, be added to it, or you need to be famous.
Well, I'm not doing that.
So one
the
or the
famous
other, that's your own. And I don't think the Riot is famous enough to get you
I
a
don't
part
think
of
so
a
either,
wrestling
no.
match.
Why not?
That's just not our strong
Don't
point.
sell ourselves short. We've got dozens of TikTok followers.
There we go.
You
One
know
day.
what? If you want us to
Hey.
work towards it, we got to put some effort. If
Which-
you want to be added to wrestle
Which
stuff.
Paul brother was it?
It was Logan.
So people said the same thing to Logan. I don't think you're famous enough to get. I don't think your
No, he
YouTube
is
channel
famous.
is
He's like
He is
one
But
of the
people,
most
one
famous
day,
people right now.
a couple years ago,
He's talking about like 10 years ago.
10
almost,
years
maybe
ago,
15
he's
years
like,
ago.
I want to be on WrestleMania one day. And his friends were like, actually, his friends were probably supportive. They were like, yeah, Logan, you can do it.
You can
Come
totally
on,
do
make
that."
a bunch of stupid YouTube videos, and one day you can be on WrestleMania. That's the kind of encouragement I
that
want.
you want? Okay,
Yes.
fine. We have space behind you. Go put one of those little bouncy ring things up and go hit the edges and go back and forth and
Yeah,
try to
start
have
to-
some sort of competition.
Start
Yeah.
practicing.
Yeah.
I think between my bombastic personality and Nene from the afternoons, his social media prowess, he's
You
going to
guys can
boost
work
me up,
on it.
and we're going to be able to tag team on WrestleMania one day against somebody. And you know who it's going to be? It's going to be you, because you didn't support me in my dream to be on WrestleMania.
Fine. How about this, Isaiah? Let's take the ceiling tile things off. They can jump from the ceiling
Yes.
thing on into the. Just don't touch the equipment.
Okay.
You know, Hudson, I believe in you. I think that you can get on WrestleMania.
Oh, you're just saying that now because you don't want to fight me.
So much so that if you'd like to even get a bet, I'll even be on the other side of it. If you want to bet, like, I will be on WrestleMania, you can put down any dollar amount and I will match that.
Well, we have a few left to get our RadioU fundraiser 100% fully funded. Perhaps RadioU should be in on the bet, too.
Yes,
we can make some real big money off of this.
I think didn't we learn about that you're not supposed to cheat at gambling?
Oh, you can't gamble like that.
It feels like you guys are getting some inside information.
It feels like we're cheating.
We are always supportive of you, Hudson, but we know you, and we know that you really don't want to do it.
What do you mean you know me?
That's
you don't want to do it?
exactly what I mean.
You can make it 5 minutes in the ring. You can make it a second in the ring.
That's not the point. I just want to be on it. I don't care if I lose.
You sound like a coach right there. That was good.
You would make it 15 seconds in there.
The more you tear me down, the more it builds me up. It builds up my motivation.
Have at it then. Coming to an upcoming years from now, WrestleMania, when the rest of us are dead and gone.
It's not going to be the next WrestleMania. It's going to take some time.
But we'll hopefully see Hudson one day there.
There are two types of people in this world, and Hudson has a problem with both. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
The other thing that wasn't WrestleMania that happened in sports over the weekend is the Final Four.
Yeah, so tonight's it, right?
This is the last game, for the college basketball season. It will be North Carolina versus Kansas. And the big story was that North Carolina defeated Duke on Saturday night.
Oh, that's the Coach K guy.
Coach K. They ended Mike Krzyzewski's career. North Carolina did by defeating Duke, unless he's going to pull a Tom Brady.
And come back?
Yeah, but he's also he's 74.
Aww.
And he spent he announced his retirement before the season. So it'd be pretty odd if he decided to come back for. And you know how long Tom Brady's been going. Coach K's been going a lot longer than Tom Brady.
Well, was it a surprise?
So it'd be weird for him to have unfinished business.
I kind of felt like it was good Duke went even that far.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like people were expecting them to win everything.
Oh, no, they were.
Oh, they were?
I wouldn't say they were like you're never expected in March Madness to win everything, but they were one of like the more high-profile teams.
Yeah.
I would say a Final Four appearance was very fitting, but if they didn't make it to the Final Four, I think people would have been more upset.
Yeah, it would have been considered a disappointment if they didn't get this far, probably. And
But
even
not
now,
tonight,
and then once
play.
they got to the Final Four, then it was like, oh, it's just all destiny or
Fairy tale
predetermined that he's going to win it all. But the only thing that could be thing that could be more perfect than him winning it all in his final season is him losing to their hated rivals in his final game of the season, and after they already lost to their hated rivals in his final home game as a coach. So it seemed very appropriate, especially if you hate Duke, which I think more people hate Duke than like them.
Sure.
It feels very appropriate that this is how it all ended.
Way?
Yeah.
So who's tonight again?
North Carolina against Kansas.
In Kansas.
Would you like to know their nicknames?
Yeah, please.
Their team names? Well, Kansas is the Jayhawks.
Okay.
North Carolina is the Tar Heels. Which it still never made any sense to me. And then their mascot is like a goat or something.
I thought it was a ram.
Is
right?
that what? Was a ram a goat?
I think it's got the horns, right?
Is a ram a goat?
I can't be sure.
Or a sheep? Or something different.
So the Tar Heels, let me see. Guys, we sound so dumb when we have to start looking these things up.
I know.
Tar Heels is what animal?
Or what is that?
What is it? The mascot of the North Carolina, it's a ram.
Yeah,
it's a ram.
But what is a ram, though?
What do you mean? It's a ram. It's a ram.
It's what is a ram?
This is where we are now.
It's a truck.
That's a random access memory.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. It's a computer chip.
We've asked such a dumb question that even Google's like, we think you're talking about this because nobody possibly could be so stupid they don't know what a ram is.
Hold your ram, because we can be. Okay, so when I look up ram, it basically just says sheep. So it's
a sheep.
Yeah, it's like
very intimidating.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
Hey, the logo is cool though, with the little horns, the horns wrapped around. Yeah.
So who are you picking tonight?
Oh, I hope. I feel like a lot of people want UNC to win because they're like the underdog.
Yeah.
But like you can't really, in my mind, like North Carolina can never be an underdog.
Right.
It's like Ohio State. If we had like a halfway decent season in football, we'd never be considered like, oh, I hope Ohio State's the one who wins.
Right.
Like, when you're a blue blood like that, like Duke, Kentucky, any of those schools, even if you had a kind of an off year, when you get to the national championship, it's just like these guys are always here, you know.
Right.
So I want Kansas to win, even though they're a high-profile basketball school. cool as well. I feel like they haven't won in a while, so I'd be more for Kansas.
I've kind of fallen in love with. That's a strong word. I've grown to like UNC, even though don't usually cheer for them. I've grown to like them in the tournament. However, I'm concerned that it was such an emotional game, so high intensity on Saturday night.
They're exhausted
compared to Kansas. That Kansas might be they might have a little more of an edge to them tonight.
Well, I guess we'll have to watch.
Also, Kansas has a guy that I really don't like on their team. So
really?
Just completely based off of how he looks. His name is Christian Braun, and he just has a punchable face.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so
I will say UNC one of my favorite colors of all time.
Oh,
when you guys watch the game
scheme
tonight, they got that powder blue. It's a beautiful color scheme.
It is. Actually, both teams have pretty strong jersey games.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, going back to the ram thing, a male sheep or goat is called a ram.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so we were both right.
Yeah.
I guess.
We learned enough.
But it has nothing to do with Tar Heels, as far as we know.
Not that I know.
Some talking, a little bit of yelling, and a whole lot of eating. The Riot, Radio U.
Well, don't shoot the messenger on this one. But we have a new study here from the University of California, Berkeley. They call it Berserkly. We'll explain in a moment maybe why. They have found that secondhand smoke from a bong, as in, when you're smoking the old Mary Jane, the old reefer, the old
it's enough.
Pot,
everybody's got it.
Grass.
They got it.
Marijuana.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
They say that can be worse than secondhand smoke from a cigarette.
Really?
Yeah, worse for you.
I like how in this study they make it very apparent. They're like, and people brought their own weed and their own smoke.
I know. So they say that it says students at the university participated in the study. And the smoking sessions took place in the living room of an apartment near the near campus.
Very weird.
So it all sounds kind of like, is this a real study or is this just an excuse for some of the students to get ripped?
Well, I think they had to point that out, and maybe this could not be done study-wise in a traditional way.
Maybe.
But they say that
it is California, right? Aren't they pretty open about that?
I think with studies it's still different.
Yeah,
they say that it could penetrate your respiratory system, that with smoking, weed, or like cigarettes, your lungs. Very important things.
Yeah, I guess, you're smoking anything. It doesn't matter what other properties it has. Still, inhaling smoke isn't necessarily great for you.
But I think it's interesting to learn about secondhand smoke because, you're around someone.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people's friends group have the friends that are doing one or the other or both. And you don't realize, or they don't realize, and the secondhand smoke from them can sometimes be just as bad as if you're doing it.
Yeah, which is what sucked when I used to work at other jobs where people would eat their lunch outside, or I liked eating my lunch outside.
Oh, but they would always smoke.
But everybody else that ate their lunch outside was a smoker. But that was just everybody I was friends with or hanging out with. But maybe it's outside. It was okay. I don't know.
Nope,
hopefully.
Still can bug you.
I'm still here now, and I didn't smoke myself. So, but, and the other thing about this is, so they're putting this out as if anybody who's having community sessions where you're passing the bong around or whatever, you're going to care, nobody's going to read this study and be like, oh, I guess I'll have to stop. But we're just putting this out there.
Oh, I'd be the one. You just send them the link to this.
Right.
Could you please? But
you're going to be that friend.
When it comes to your lungs,
Yeah, right. Well, you have allergies and whatever too, so you got to be careful.
I got enough lung
But
problem
apparently, I guess we
is.
all should be careful.
So they said that they exerted no control, gave no direction to the students on how to smoke.
They just let them have it, right?
That's it. They were free to smoke as much as they wanted and then started the session, and that's what they did the study from.
Again, it kind of just sounds like an excuse to let the students, for the students to just be like, this is for science.
Well, they monitored the measure.
It's for science.
And the air quality before, during, and after each session. And then they compared that data for weed smoking to data from tobacco smokers. And they were determined that weed smoke, cannabis smoke, was determined to have 4 times the amount of fine part matter than secondhand tobacco. So that matter then gets in your lungs and causes the problem.
So that's not good. Is that at the end of the day?
I think that's the end of the study.
Yeah, it feels like we're not going to be popular for putting this story out there, and I don't care. I don't take a side either way, really, when it comes to marijuana. But I do feel like if you go back, 100 years or whatever time it was, when everybody smoked cigarettes. And you look at the movies and whatever, like just everybody did it, and thought it was actually good for you. And then eventually the studies started coming out, and when those studies started coming out, one similar probably to this, people were like, whatever, don't be lame, man. And then eventually now, not a lot of people just smoke. I wonder, I don't know, but I just wonder if the same thing will eventually happen with marijuana, because we've seen a few bad stories come out about it recently, where it just feels like either there's a hit job out on it, or maybe it's not after all this time of seeing all the positive stories about it,
sure,
some of the negative ones are coming out where maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. I don't know.
Just like that Hudson said, don't be lame, man.
Yeah, right.
It sounds like these two need to do a little less TikToking and a little more tick listening. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. Radio U.
In Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, where at one of their senior high schools, they have decided to ban children. Well, I guess it's senior high, so young adults, you could say. Teenagers?
Sure.
How about that? Teenagers, students. They are not allowed to bring in snacks that are, for example, a bag of chips. It is limited to 4 ounces, and a closed drink can only be up to 20 ounces.
Now, it's kind of weird because that includes your lunch as well.
Right.
And they say that they're searching lunches.
They're searching lunches. And they're banning you from bringing this stuff in. And so some people, there's obviously some very differing opinions on this, where people are taking issue with the lunches being searched. And then some people saying, why do you have to limit? That could be a small limit. Why can't somebody bring in?
Well, they said that they had problems with people bringing in like family size or like party packs of chips and stuff each day. And I thought when I first read it, like, well, obviously the district wants you to be spending your money on snacks. At the school. So they want you to pay their money and their price and buy it there.
Could be the underlying reason, but they're not coming out and saying that. They say, so here's what they chalk it up to. The school board and stuff, what they're saying is, at other schools, they've had kids bringing in edibles.
Yeah.
So they don't want that, which I guess who knows? I don't know how limiting the size can limit edibles, but it just gives them an excuse to search your lunch, I guess. But also, they say that kids have been trading or selling their snacks. That's why they're bringing in the party packs.
Aww.
And so
do you remember trading food?
They don't want that as a distraction.
Yeah, sure.
So that's their reasoning. But of course, I'm definitely on the side of the students here. So like one of the things they said, we have lunch and breakfast here for the students and stuff like that. So I can't imagine why you need a family-sized bag of chips. Really?
Sounds like you're judging, guys.
Right. That does sound like a bit of judging. Over a 5-ounce bag of chips is a family size to you?
Well,
I'll show you family size.
A lot of people were bringing in like 2 liters and like way more than.
That feels like a lot.
Maybe the average person. But dude, let's just with the Radio U break room. Let's go back to sharing snacks, and you bring in something and we can trade.
Oh man, that sounds good, doesn't it?
But if we had a limit,
I've got
can you
6
imagine?
cans of soup. Would you like to trade?
Oh, actually, you would not be the fun one to trade with.
What do you? I was gonna say you probably wouldn't be. You probably got like cauliflower wings or something.
Well, better than just your cans of soup.
What's wrong with the soup?
Actually, we have wonderful snacks provided here at Radio U.
We have a lot of stuff we don't even need to trade.
We would be the ones to have the snacks searched through just to make sure.
The thing is, too, the reason why we don't trade, you know why, Nikki?
Why?
We're adults. We can buy whatever we want.
I know. We don't need to have a limit.
We're not children. Our lunches are provided for us by our parents, and we have to go with whatever they give us, even if we don't like it.
Hey, if you feel the need to pack a grown-up lunch and then you go to, I almost said to school, and you come to work and someone else has some more fun items, then yeah, trading would be great.
See, I think what we should do is we should take some of our fun snacks from the Radio U break room, our family-sized bags of chips, just start handing them out at school. Getting the kids at recess, be like, hey, I know you can't bring these in, but look what I got over here. Psst. Yeah.
Come
you
on
want
over
some
here.
family-sized barbecue lays? We got them.
While you get arrested.
Yeah. Is that illegal to give kids chips?
I don't know. It feels wrong. It feels wrong. I don't need that story to be you at the school selling chips to people.
It might not be illegal, but it is probably.
Frowned
it might
upon.
make you the news that look at local radio host handing out bags of chips at school.
The Riot promise is that they'll always have an opinion on everything they talk about. But that doesn't mean any of their opinions will make sense. This is The Riot on Radio U.
you found this survey that says basically people really, really care what their house smells like.
Yeah, it's an important thing. I felt that when I read this, it really hit home with me because as I do have a dog, that kind of made me always think when someone walks into my house.
Oh, do they smell the dog?
Like, what do they smell? Because I'm used to the smell of my house, and so obviously I'm not going to know what it smells like. I think it smells good.
That's actually
not sure.
It's a good point to think that everything else in your house, if you're having people over, you're not, you know what would be odd for somebody to come in and see that you are used to, but you're used to the smell of your house. You can't know what it smells like to somebody coming in new. You can know what it looks like to somebody coming in new.
Sure, but not the smell.
But you can't know the smell.
You might not even know that you smell.
Right.
That's a big thing.
You might bring it everywhere with you.
It might be a dog. You might not even have a pet. It might just be you and your
house.
How you're keeping your house.
Have you guys ever had anybody tell you your house stinks?
Yes.
Yes?
Oh, really?
Listen, but it's not my fault. I have a small house. Now, my house does not stink. We have fixed the scent, but there have been times where I've walked into my own house and I've been like, what the heck is that?
Well, I think everybody's done that,
And then I open the door, and then there's just the thing sitting there staring at me.
You know.
And I'm like, oh, yet again, pooped inside. Oddly enough, you've made it now 11 days in a row. But now that my dog, Jim, he no longer goes to the bathroom inside anymore, the house's scent is
cleaned
phenomenal.
out.
It's phenomenal.
Have you guys ever gone to somebody else's house?
Yes.
And smell and you said something to them or just
you would
kept
never,
it to yourself?
No, I would never say something.
Have you?
I've never said anything, no.
I've also never said anything, but sometimes you can definitely smell it.
Depending on my actually, I think I have said something before, but it was like one of my really close friends. They have like rabbits. Oh
no.
My gosh.
Yeah.
These things, I will never own a rabbit because one of my best friends when we were younger, he always had rabbits in his house, and it's not like his house smelled bad, but the room that the rabbits were in was like right next to the front door.
Yeah.
So when you walked into the house, you immediately got that immediate hit of rabbit or whatever it was. It smelled terrible, but then the rest of the house smelled nice.
You're actually, don't tell my brother, but he has a rabbit, and it has like its own room. And yes, the rabbit's just, I don't think you can have a rabbit and have things smell okay anywhere where the rabbit is.
Well, maybe this survey is a lot of rabbit owners. They said 69% of people worry that their house or apartment may smell bad to others. 7 in 10 will do anything to ensure that their house smells good, which is not this. The average person spends $221 per year on items to improve their home smell.
They do not.
Well, they say that. So that could be like the spray sort of thing, or like the carpet cleaner, candles.
Maybe they're being very liberal, or maybe most of us spend like $10 a year on the scented wax or candles or whatever. And then there's one guy out there who spends $5 million on candles, driving the average up for everybody.
They say the worst smells in your house could be smoke, sink water, and pets come in at 51%. A lot of people say that they like to have a sweet smell or a floral and then a savory down at the bottom.
I've found that some people, obviously the pets are a big one, and of course smoking as well, but I found that some people that really like to cook, it doesn't mean that their food is bad, and it doesn't, and they might not be bad cooks, but sometimes when you cook a lot, especially with certain spices, it just bakes into your house and into your clothes. And you take it everywhere with you, and it's not really great.
Well, I also, if you make something and then you don't take the trash out, like
if you have food in your trash can right now,
and you need to take that out. The next day, and you're like, oh my gosh, did someone die? You're like, no, it's just the food.
If you guys came to my house, or if I came to your house or your house, and I walked in and you like smelled a terrible smell, my house just smells terrible.
It's trash.
Does that change the way that I walk in every day and you look at me if my house smells bad?
No, if it's messy. If it's messy and smells. Because I think if it just smells,
have his life together.
If it just smells only, that's one thing. Anybody can have a mess up.
Sure, and you might not pick up on it.
Correct,
because you're used to it.
But if you live in filth and you smell like it too, then that means you are just not clean.
Don't you think that's a pretty big indictment on a person though? If their house stinks and they're so used to it. It's like that means it stunk for a long time, and they've just got. They're just okay with that.
If I walked into Hudson's house and it stunk, the next day I'd look at it and I'd be like, Hudson's house stinks. But if I walked into Hudson's house and it was clean and it smelled good, I'd be like, dang, Hudson's got it together. It would change the way I look.
If you're coming over, and I know you're coming, my house would look and smell immaculate.
Pristine.
It definitely smells. There's nothing I don't know how much cleaning I can do. I can make sure the house smells good.
But how is it
But
day
if you
to
come
day?
over unannounced, it might not be great.
That's enough of that. For more Riot content, head to riot.radiou.com.